So, with no credentials other than I study English and sociology, this is what I think your favorite KISSCO or KATTDO song says about you. Aperture. So, the passage of time is something you struggle with, but you're still trying to live as presently as possible. An aperture is a hole or an opening. So, aperture lets the light in. Suggests there's this constant hope to let the positivity you so sorely need in life. Finding yourself seems scary when it feels like time is moving so quickly without fail, but there has to be a moment when you take a step back and let the light in, letting yourself take a moment to breathe and find yourself. The definition of you will change over time, and that's something you need to be okay with. American Girls. You watch people fall in love more than you do for yourself. It's fulfilling to see people you love fall in love, but there's an ache in not being the one to fall in love. It feels like all the time, no matter where you are, you're constantly followed by people taking risks and meeting milestones, and as proud as you are for them, there's this void of incompletion within you because of it. Ready, steady, go. You love with everything in you, and you consistently attract partners who are never as all in as you are. While you're at 110%, they're at an 80. There's this urgency in how you love, as though you're afraid it'll all vanish if you don't love hard enough. It's exhilarating to enter a new relationship, but the fun always vanishes early on, and you have to overcompensate in order to keep that magic alive in your head. When all else fails, you always fall back on a casual connection, which just leaves you feeling emptier than the relationships. There's no middle ground, and you're not sure how to find that ground, or if there might just be something wrong with you instead. Are you listening yet? You're either out and proud, or devastatingly in the closet. You're either proudly a Will Byers, or less proudly a Mike Wheeler. The pressure of social norms are something to be rivaled and challenged, and only the brave will prevail. Barriers are only barriers when you decide they're stopping you, and once you decide to let yourself be free, those limitations no longer exist. You contain a performative self that the average person sees, and it's burying the real you inside so deep that you can't seem to let it out anymore. Despite that, you have two choices: your head or your heart. The head knows what society wants, and the heart knows what you want, even if it's not something you want to admit. You desperately want something to confirm the belief you've had that you're making the right choices, knowing you're stifling who you could really be. You crave the confirmation that you'll someday be more than what you are. Simultaneously and internally, there's nothing but turmoil. Taste back. You hang on to old friends because you're unsure if the love is genuine or if you're just lonely. You have anything you could want in life, but it's all in vain because the only thing you want is to be known and loved. You hoard memories and you get stuck in nostalgia because it's easier than biting the bullet and being alone. Finding new people is harder than sticking around with people you've known for ages, so you continue to surround yourself with them. You find yourself more comfortable in sadness than you are in happiness, because it's easier to know being sad than fighting to be happy. It feels like it takes so much work just to be okay, so you let yourself fall into old habits, never really getting better, but not exactly getting worse, so you justify your actions by saying you're content. The waiting game. You consistently settle for the bare minimum because you want nothing more than to be loved and known like you see around you, even though it's hollow and unreal. When you don't, you always consider the worst case scenario with everyone you talk to because you expect the worst, which sets up your own waiting game of finding someone who fits the unachievable standard you've set for the imaginary someone. When you do crush, it's the typical standard person. It's who people expect everyone to have the crush on in some sense. It holds you over while you look for someone to actually suit your needs, knowing you may not even know entirely what you need. So it's easier to just skip around with crushes and heartbreak than striving towards building yourself into someone who can be loved as an individual. You're waiting for the perfect one. Maybe you've already found them, but somehow, someway, you just can't seem to have them. So you feel that loss with things you can have, even if you know it's not really what you want. Season 2, Weight Loss. When something has a repeated appearance, it tends to morph itself and become more digestible. When a show, let's say, enters season 2, the actors usually come back looking sharper, fitter, and more attractive to the public because there's now something on the line. There's this stake to get people watching. There's a stake in being digestible. There's a pressure with external expectations that you never seem to get over, which causes authenticity to flounder. You hope people see you and like you, so you make yourself digestible in the hopes that they enjoy your presence. You see yourself as nothing more than whether or not people like you, which affects everything you do, which may very well manifest in unhealthy habits, trying to please everyone but yourself. Coming up roses. You used to be in love with someone that you'd do anything for. You loved them like it was the end of the world. They were home. But at the end of the day, you were different people. You tried and tried, but the truth was that you couldn't force the love. You've had to come to terms with the idea that you can love someone as much as life itself, but that still isn't enough to change them. Love is unfortunate sometimes, but it's still something that you cherish. You've tried to pretend and escape, but you can't ignore the fact that the person you're so desperately holding on to is not the person you'll spend your life with. Pop. You do everything you do because you want to, not because someone else does. There's an intoxication in doing what you want, and the rush of fulfilling personal wants sometimes makes you grow nearly too spontaneous. It's hard for you to find the line between too much and too little, and you very often go over the too much line. Still, there's a thrill in losing control. Much like the euphemistic nature of the song, the thrill in your bones from spontaneity is very similar to the average person's bone-deep thrill in sexual activity. And much like the latter, it can very easily become an addiction for the worst. And there's no way to turn it off in your head, but the rush of doing things because you want to all the time seemingly has no repercussions, and it's too overpowering to stop. Dance no more. There was a night in your life where you felt more alive than you ever have, and you've never wanted to look back since. For years you've lived on the line, done everything expected of you, but after having a taste of freedom, there's nothing you wouldn't do to be able to keep participating in your own individuality. Even when everyone around you stays by the book, you step out of the pages. It's a learning experience, but it's one you'd never give up. You constantly strive to break out of the box placed around you, encouraging those around you to also participate in their own lives, as they are born to do. You value your freedom of expression, and you take every opportunity you can to express yourself. Paint by numbers. There's a balance between how you are in public and how you are when you're alone. It's a balance that isn't easy to maintain, and oftentimes you have to make a choice between the two. You consider who you are to the public to be something extraordinary, but there's a mesh with who you are in the private that's clouded by this public persona. You don't think you can just shut off your outer self, so it feels like it's haunting you even when you're alone. Your childhood led into adulthood, and now there's a clear separation between the two, and you know you can never go back to being that kid. Who you are has morphed you into the person you are today, whether or not you like that person. You're still learning how to be you, even with all these moving parts, and never gets easier. Also, you probably really loved Liam, didn't you? Carla's song. You cherish connection over everything else. Above everything, you just want to be known and to know others. The power of knowing is unlike anything else, and you'd never take it for granted. Harry states this to be the most important track on the album, and you definitely subscribe to that. Learning and knowledge is important to you, and you're always open to learning more. You're an open book to those who know you, because to be noticed is to be loved. You don't take offense to people who don't know things about you, because it's an opportunity for someone else to learn and to grow the relationship. You find the magic of raw experience to be breathtaking, because there's nothing more real and knowable than the human experience. There are billions of other souls alive right now, and billions who have passed, and billions who will exist years after you, and still, you exist right now. In this moment in time, you're alive, and you get to love the people you love, and that is a privilege unlike any other. And obviously, it's not like oh my god, you like this song, you're a bad person. No. If you like it, you like it. At the end of the day, there's no psychology. You just like the song. But it's fun to imagine there is. And there's 12 tracks, which means this is my new zodiac sign.